What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. Welcome back to Matchday Reloaded, live here in Panenka Studios. We're back once again. Panenka Studios, back up and running again. And is this the first Matchday Reloaded I've done this season? We've actually won a game. I think it might be. Nevertheless, Burnley 0, Manchester United 1. We're going to be getting into some quotes from the managers, quotes from the players, reaction from Turf Moor, UVHQ, reaction from the players as well. There's plenty to get into this morning, so be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Bottom right hand corner. First win in what? 3 games? 4 games? Arsenal, Brighton, Bayern. 4. First win in 4. First win in 3. Doesn't really matter. It's 3 points. The most important 3 is 3 points on the board for Manchester United. And look, it wasn't pretty. It was scrappy. But if you're going to look on the face of things, and I always say this when it comes to wins and losses in football, people don't really remember performances. What do they remember? They remember results. And that's what it's about for Manchester United at the moment, because that's what we don't have. That's what we haven't had in a while. That is results. 3 points on the board. And what you saw last night, realistically, is 2 teams bereft of confidence, bereft really of goals, and quite bereft of quality at the moment. Let's be completely transparent here. That was a tough watch at times. I was watching the highlights last night on the TNT Sports YouTube channel, and the top comment, literally the top comment, the one the algorithm is recommended, and it was like, shout out to everyone that watched the 90 minutes. It was a tough watch, because there was points of that game when I was watching last night, and I thought, you know, this is a bit of a difficult watch today, because look, obviously, really happy with the win. We needed it. Anything less was kind of catastrophic. And I think you could kind of tell by the United players' performance, especially in sort of the early stages of the first half, it was very timid. It was very cautious at times. You could tell that's a team that looks fragile and looks quite frail. Obviously, the injury issues are just spiraling out of control at Manchester United. I mean, you know, when the team news came out, and I think everyone assumed it was going to be a diamond, it actually wasn't. It was back to the 4-2-3-1. But when the team news came out and you had a back 4 of Reguilon, Johnny Evans, Victor Lindelof, Diogo Dalot, I mean, had we said that at the beginning of the season, you know, going into that first game against Wolves, oh, by the way, sort of 6 games in, this will be your back 4, you would have thought, what on earth happened? What on earth has happened at United? And it's injuries. Injuries is what has happened at United. So to get a clean sheet with the amount of goals we've been shipping recently, I think is a massive positive. We had that back 4, we didn't concede, positive, and you know, arguably the people that played in that back 4 were some of the best performances on the pitch, in particular Johnny Evans, which we'll get into later on. In front of them, of course, you had Casemiro and McTominay. Again, it wasn't a pretty watch at all. In front of them, you had Rashford on the left, who I thought, again, had what is, I guess, becoming a bit of a typical Rashford performance in the early stages of this season, which is concerning. You had Hannibal, actually surprisingly, in the 10, who got better as the game went on. He was impressive to a degree, but I think that it was more based on work rate and application as opposed to quality. And I think maybe we're just happy that we've seen someone, you know, putting an effort in, because that's not been a given so far this season, and I think that says a lot too. Then you had Bruno on the right, which I don't like. Bruno on the right-hand side. I don't think many people do like him on the right-hand side. Obviously, we've got issues on the right-hand side at the moment. When he's on the right, he doesn't tend to get involved in the game that much, but when he did get involved, his goal, I mean, it's a brilliant goal. From start to finish, the ball from Johnny Evans is fantastic, and then the technique and the confidence for Bruno Fernandes to take that on. If you're not confident in your ability, that ball over the top, you take a touch and you go, right, take a touch, maybe I cut it back, maybe I'll do something like that. You know, players that are confident, players that believe in their own ability, they'll take it on first time. And I've watched the goal back a few times now, and the sound it makes, the sound when he goes bang, because it's quite quiet in the stadium when he hits it, it's like boom, it's like a gun going off. And it's a brilliant goal, and one certainly deserving to win a football match, no doubt about that. And then you had Højlund up front as well, who, again, I thought application was good. He is very much a rough and tumble centre forward. He gets involved with the fullbacks and the centre backs, certainly in particular. And the more you do watch him, he's certainly a rough diamond. I think you can see there is something there, but there is parts of the game still that need to be worked on. But he's 20 years old and he hasn't had a ton of senior first team football, so that's going to take time. But overall, the most important thing is the result. That's what we said. If we'd have said to you before the game, considering how low everyone's confidence was, not just the players, the staff, you and I, going into that game, if we'd have said you get 3 points and a clean sheet, absolutely, no problem at all. So I do find it quite funny that people are complaining about it afterwards because, go, oh, look, our standards are so low. We're celebrating beating Burnley. Oh, yeah. If you haven't won a game in like 3 games, of course you'll be celebrating a win because you haven't had one in ages. And it's not. And I don't think we're going on like we dominated and completely, smashed them. And it was, I can't believe it was 1-0. It was a 1-0 game. Absolutely. But we'll take it. We'll take it given the situation that we're in. And we always said this now run of games, you can see some of them below me on the scroller. This run of games that we now have, they've got to win the majority, if not all of them, to get to that Manchester derby at the end of October and have some momentum. Our best form last year, our best performances were built on momentum. Coming out of the World Cup, we had a run of games until I think it was that Arsenal game. It was at the end of January, wasn't it, at the Emirates last season. And from really sort of December to January, we had so many games because of the World Cup, and we won the majority of them, if not all of them. And it was based upon, facing teams we should beat and beating them. And you build up momentum, you build up confidence. How Marcus Rashford really got into form last season was based on momentum and building up. So that's what it was about last night. It was about the result. Now, as far as some quotes after the game, one of the people that we heard from after the game, and I was glad to hear from him because he was the man of the match. I know Bruno actually got the award, but even though it was actually given to him in the end given to Johnny Evans by Bruno Fernandes, Johnny Evans said, this club has quality defenders. I've just been observing and seeing how they play. It's a bit different to what I'm used to. I felt I slotted in well tonight. You want to be successful and win games, but you've got to earn clean sheets. And I was pleased tonight. I wasn't able to finish the match, but it was just as good seeing Andre catch the one at the end and relief at the final whistle. As far as Erik ten Hag, he said after the game actually about Sergio Reguilon, because Reguilon came off and people were like, oh my goodness me, this left back position is cursed. It looked like during the game there was a point where I think it was a ball played behind, and it was when Evans actually went into Andre Onana. He hit his head on Onana's leg, and Reguilon came off after that because he was holding his hamstring. But Erik ten Hag has suggested that actually he was ill. He said, quote, Reguilon was ill, but he wanted to play. It says something about his character and spirit. He wanted to play and contribute. And I found that quite curious. Now, again, he sort of suggested that Reguilon came off because he was ill and he could only do so much. It did look like he pulled his hamstring, or at least tweaked his hamstring. That's why he came off. But even so, I think, and I might get in trouble for this because someone in the comments lambasted me the other day saying, Owen, you don't know what Erik ten Hag thinks. Stop telling us what you think he's saying in a press conference stream, nevertheless, which is kind of the point. Erik ten Hag speaks. I say what he says. I'll give my opinion on it and interpret what I think he means by it. Imagine that. That's like going on a football stream going, stop talking about football, please. Stop interpreting tactics. Don't do that. But I think what he means by that, and well, I think it's curious that he's talking about, he was ill, but he still wanted to play. He still wanted to contribute. Could that be a bit of a side swipe? Other players going, hey, this guy, he's on loan, and we're thinking about getting rid of him in January. There's a break clause, and kind of an understanding that it might only be in for a few months. He's ill, and he had a valid excuse not to play. He still played. He still wanted to play, and he still wanted to contribute. And I think that says a lot. And maybe that says a lot about some of the other people at Manchester United. Application. The determination from some of the players isn't there. The sort of want to play, the want to contribute, the want to get involved, put yourself in the spotlight, contribute and allow the team to win. Because for some players, that feels like it's sorely missing at some point as well. And I think that does speak volumes. And obviously, again, we don't know the latest with Reguilon. Hopefully, it's just a case of illness and he's still available because during this really tough time, he's been one of our best players. And last night, again, it's not it's not like the perfect performance or anything like that, but it's grit. And when times are tough, you need people that are going to dig their heels in, and you need people that are going to try, and you need people that are going to run. And I know that sounds so basic, but we've lost the basics so far this season. Erik ten Hag said it in his press conference on Friday in the embargoed part. Why aren't your players running? I don't know. Some players are. Some players aren't. And looks like Reguilon is, so a credit to him. Ten Hag continued by saying, last year we had the most clean sheets in the Premier League. We were disciplined and followed the rules. When we do that, it's difficult to play against Manchester United. On Bruno Fernandes's goal, which I said was fantastic, Ten Hag said, a brilliant goal, lovely play. In games like Munich and Arsenal, we played well in spells, but we gave easy goals away. We have seen so many things against us in the last couple of weeks. And I think he's referring to, obviously, a lot of the VAR decisions. And it's not even necessarily the case of whether they're right or wrong. I was pointing this out yesterday too, because obviously Jonny Evans scored, ruled out for offside. By the letter of the law, yes. He's the last player, and he's in the goalkeeper's line of sight. It was interfering in play, so they'll say it's offside. You can talk about consistency, because there's the one for Man City that is given as a goal and it shouldn't be, and they come out afterwards and say, oh, we got that one wrong. But it's things like that aren't going for Manchester United at the moment. I mean, I think that's 4 games in a row there's been VAR intervention, whether it be last night with Jonny Evans, whether it be the handball with Christian Eriksen on Wednesday, whether it be Rasmus Højlund's goal against Brighton, whether it be Alejandro Garnacho's goal against Arsenal. I mean, even things you can go to Spurs, with the handball that wasn't given, that should have been given, or a Palestri penalty that wasn't given and it should have been given. You can say that, certain things aren't going United's way when it comes to decisions at the moment, but okay. Ten Hag also said about Hannibal, he said he, quote, brought good energy in the team, but the pressing from Rasmus Højlund was very good. We controlled the game in that spell. He also said Hannibal did his job perfectly tonight. And Hannibal did well. And again, we'll get into individual players as we go through. But just overall, as I mentioned, it cannot be stressed. I've seen a lot of people really honing down and focusing on how poor the performance was at times. And look, you look at the stats on the screen right there as they go through. It was pretty even. And Burnley hit the post. And it could have maybe on another day, had they scored early on, maybe gone a bit differently. But as the game went on, I did think we were more in control. And I wasn't too nervous Burnley were going to score, honestly, because you could even hear their home fans at Turf Moor. Yeah, they had a lot of possession, but it's also, what do you do with it? What are you doing with possession? And they weren't doing a ton with it, to be honest with you. So there you go. Magnus says, stop crying about VAR. Saying it's the most deluded thing when every team thinks that it's against them. Literally go and look at other team tweets. They all say that Carr is against them. I mean, it was a decent point, and then autocorrect got you at the end, Magnus, which is it's a shame. And I'm not naive enough to think that we haven't got VAR decisions that have gone in our favour this season. Look at the Wolves decision that they've come out and said it. And as I said, I'm not debating whether some of those decisions about the goals being ruled out are wrong, because you would say the majority of the time they've got it right. What I mean is sometimes you hope that they go for you and sometimes they don't go for you. Sometimes, and I don't mind with VAR if they're ruled out correctly, so like in the games that we've seen this season, but you will see in other games situations like that and the goals will be given. And there isn't any consistency in the Premier League. I mean, if it's an argument to say that VAR always gets it right, that's bullshit. That is not true. Anyway, let's get to some reaction first. Let's talk about Judge, because I've been on Flex with Judge a lot. And when I saw Flex interacting with the players before the game, I was worried. When it comes to after the game, I'm still kind of worried. But here's Flex before and after the game, greeting and congratulating some of the players. Take a look.
Andre. Hey, bro. Bro, listen. Told you. Head up. Look, you see? You did it, bro. Clean sheet. Happy? Part of life, bro. Part of life. It's part of life. It's part of life. Just keep calm. You had a comfortable performance today? Comfortable? You okay?
You know that. That's you. And United.
Rest up, man. Go rest up. Ice bath. Yeah, Tuesday.
Yeah.
But what are you saying? Well played, my guy. Well played, man. Keep it up, man. Bruno, can we get a quick chat after your goal, please, bro? Just a quick one. 1 minute. You scored! Bruno, you scored! There's no better time. Oh my God. Come on, how you feeling after the good win? Good? We go again Tuesday, right? Okay. Come on, Eric. Build again. Prove the doubters wrong, man. Come on. My manager. Well done, rolling back the years, my guy.
Rolling back the years, Johnny Evans. And a thumb up from Eric Ten Hag as well. There you go. And Bruno Fernandes dodges another interview. But yes, when it comes to the judge, look, we've spoken about it. I've got half a mind to call Flex actually have him, on his soapbox to say, look, I told you so. The judge is over and all that kind of. Let's see, because I know that he's available this morning. Let's have a look. I've updated my phone as well, and I don't really know anything that's going on. What's this? I don't care about how my phone is set up. All right. Oh. Honestly. There you go. What was that? Let's see.
Owen, can you, I'm just at the service station at the minute. I did say call me. Can you call me back in like 5 minutes?
What a disgrace.
I know. I was watching the judge files. I just pulled up at Costa drive-through to get a hot chocolate with oat milk and marshmallows with no cream. And a tomato and mozzarella panini, which I'm just in the middle of currently getting. So, yeah.
The thing is with Flex, yeah. He said to me, he goes, I tell you what, if you want, I'll be available. Call me during the show. And he's getting a panini. He's not even driving. He's not even on Bluetooth. He's not even on hands-free. He stopped driving and he's getting a hot chocolate. I've given him the platform to dispel the judge myths. I've given him the platform to say, look, no more judge. All this kind of stuff. I'm going, this is your moment. This is your opportunity. It's been spending too much time with those United players, I feel like, yeah? Take your opportunities, Fleck. He'll call now. I'm not going to answer. That's on him. I'm in control of this show. Oh, unbelievable. And then he'll moan and go, people talk about the judge. That was your opportunity. That was your moment. You got to take these moments. Take your chances. Hannibal Mejbri it. Sergio Reguilon it. Not Sergio Regulfleck. Hannibal Mejbri. No, they didn't show up today. It's very unfortunate. Very, very, very unfortunate from Fleck. See, he's calling me back now. Yes.
Yes, mate.
Yes, well,
Yeah. This is my Martin McCutcheon moment, and I'm not missing it. I heard you, mate. Don't worry.
Yeah, well, I just thought, I've bigged up Reguilon, I've bigged up Hannibal. Johnny Evans getting an opportunity and taking it. I go, Flex, this is your moment, judge, and you go, I'm having a panini.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, I'm just not rude. I didn't want to do two things at once and not give my attention to the person. Have manners. I was asking for a drink and making a transaction. I didn't want to be rude. I've always been raised with manners.
Wow, and that's not true either, because I've seen plenty of times multitask. I've seen multitasking plenty of times. Yeah, during shows.
Yeah, I know. But I was hungry. I need to recharge. When you get slated for having that much judge when it's not true, and everyone can now hold that. You need to recharge your batteries in the morning. It's been a very draining time for me personally.
Yeah, I mean, is the judge thing dead now, or are we gonna? Is it just on the next performance as well? Actually, Because
I'm just gonna be honest though, and my whole point is that it's not a real thing. Yeah. So we didn't win yesterday because Bruno didn't score that amazing volley yesterday because I gave him a fist pump before the game. I don't want to take credit for that.
Yeah.
Onana didn't get a clean sheet yesterday because I dapped him up and said, let's go, bro. That's not because of me. The same way that when we lose, it's not because of me. My thing with the judge is not to prove that it's on me and I'm in control of this. It's the opposite. Whatever happens, it's nothing to do with me. That's my point. That's my point. So I just hope that, this has been a chapter in my life that, it's been under immense scrutiny. It's been hard for me and my family. And we've had to come through this, but I hope now we can put this behind us, move forward for good or for bad, and look forward to a good season.
I mean, post-match interview with Fleck there, very, very diplomatic. Very diplomatic. But
when
you can't lie. You can't lie. When that video came out before the game and that kind of stuff,
I was getting rinsed.
Well, you must have thought to yourself, look, if this goes wrong,
Of course I did. Because I know what our community's like. Because they're horrible to me, and I just know what Twitter's like. And look at a couple of comments. It was mixed between, oh, that's really good seeing Flex there, and then why is he doing this? He knows that all our players are already injured, and he goes and does this. But for me, obviously, it's a bit of tongue in cheek in it. But mate, I'm just living the dream, mate. I wake up every day. I'm thinking, how on earth is this going? I was talking to Rio after the game, behind the camera, and I was like, how is this even what's going on here?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Say for fan channels and stuff like that, and the journey that I've personally been on, but also the channel has been on. To be in these spaces, it's like, what on earth's going on? The players just, they mess with us, they like us, and it is hard. Look, when we're not afraid to criticise them. You lot see what I say on the channel. I was reluctant to even think we'd win at Burnley. So we're not changing what we're thinking. We're not compromising ourselves. We're being authentically ourselves within reason. Obviously, you're not going to go in there and flipping cuss people out to their face and just be rude. But essentially, what we say is what we say. We're not scared of our opinion. But to still be able to be in those rooms is a dream come true, man. So I'm kind of living that kind of dream through all of you guys. But at the same time, I'm not going to lie to you. Once that bit was done and I went up to the gantry and started watching the game, of course, I was thinking, Man United, please just win. I beg you, just win.
Yeah.
Because I know what happened.
Yeah.
We did.
It's true. I mean, even before the game, so you guys wouldn't have noticed, but Flex called me before the game. Well, actually, before TNT started broadcasting, actually, the game is probably the better way to say it. And he went, "Can you see me on TV?"
Proper little kid, innit? Can you see me? I'm going to be there in 2 minutes. And this is what people think, I just, take it on their stride and, Flex does it. But I'm telling you, I'm like a kid every time. I might not show it all the time, but I'm always thinking it. Sometimes it comes out. KG's like that as well. He reminds me a lot of times. It's we'll be sitting in a press box. KG goes, Flex, bro, we're here. and it's good to pinch yourself and do that. And I do get them little kid moments there. I was saying to Owen, can you see me? Can you see me on telly?
Well, also as well, Flex was describing what was happening on the television as I'm watching the television. It was a strange situation. We were going, yep, intro's playing now. Yep. Shot of Old Trafford. Yep. It's going to go to team news. Yep.
It was like you starting off the morning show and counting me in.
Intro playing. Yep.
It's good. And people, actually, when we done the behind the scenes at Burnley as well, I've seen some of the comments and stuff. A lot of people enjoyed it. Look at our community. Our community's from all over the world, man, and includes people, that will never ever get to come to a United game, let alone an away game at Turf Moor. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people from the UK who follow us avidly but don't get a chance to go to games, and again wouldn't ever get to do that. So where we can, it means a lot, man, to be able to do that kind of stuff and just do things differently, innit? Do you know what I mean? And just bring a different perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, Flex, we've now got to move on because now we're going to go to, well, speaking actually, the next clip will be of you speaking to Rio Ferdinand. So they're going to see that in just a second.
Well.
There you go. It's almost like a produced show, this, isn't it? It's quite good.
Look at this.
Yeah, not bad.
But yeah, just to quickly, before I sign off, just the judge thing, it was good while it lasted. I get it was a bit of a laugh, but you can all move on with your lives now. So the next loss, please don't be coming to me saying anything. I see this as case closed. Yeah, the prosecution rests.
Wow.
Or the defence rests.
We'll see. We'll see about that. But yeah, we'll see. But anyway, you're going to be on Full View tonight. Flex going to be on Full View tonight as well. Full
See you there.
And then
Laters,
he'll be on his platform once again, being like, no more judge. Full View tonight. Don't miss it. 7 p.m.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big up.
Peace. There you go. Flex calling in to Matchday Reloaded. Improvise. Excellent. We've got super chats here. Lil Yo-Yo says, Flex predicted it would be a draw and high five players. Reverse judgeology. Flip back to front. Fleck is a judge mastermind. Even shook the manager's hand. So I think he's understanding his powers at this point. Magnus says, just a morning top up. Continue the good work. Appreciate you, Magnus, for that super chat. And Leo says, it's crazy. Fleck back in the day had to try and interview Rio through a car window. And now he casually works with him and got him for an interview. That's true. It's true. It's a famous clip, isn't it? Certainly through the car window. Speaking of Rio, what a great segue that is. Because as I mentioned, Fleck spoke to Rio Ferdinand after the game. Here are Rio's thoughts on the game and how United can continue some of this momentum.
This, you can't lose. I mean, you asked Eric before, how important it is, and he said, must win. And we managed to.
Listen, the guys dug in. I think these places you come to here, like old school grounds, you've got to dig in. They're difficult, they're ugly sometimes. This is a new type of culture at Burnley, so they're playing a bit more open, expansive football, but they still put you under a bit of pressure, and you've got to produce a collective result, and they were concentrated today. They were a bit more harder to play through. Still more to do performance-wise, but I've been in these situations. You need a result. 3 points to override everything.
Johnny Evans, man.
Oh, roll back the years. Roll back the years. I've said it for time now. I've said it since he left. He should never have been allowed to leave this club. He was probably the best defender when he left. And I still think to this day, I think he'd have been better staying here and he'd have helped a lot more and they'd have got more out of him. He's a really, really top pro. Works hard, great for the culture. And you can see he's come in here, he's, like he said to us after the game, I'm having to learn again. He's 35 years old, being re-educated, still there, diligent professional. So he's the right type you want in the building. So I think today he was majestic in his performance. I thought he led well, commanded at the back, very assured, and the pass he made to Bruno's goal, well.
Because that's one of them, if Lisandro does that, you know what I mean, we're all raving about it, saying what a pass is. Yeah. And he's just literally, that was shades of Rooney Van Persie.
Yeah, nuts. Seriously, it was a mad pass, like unreal pass. I mean, listen, and he's left foot as well.
Yeah.
And Johnny's as good on the ball. He's just so calm, man. There's an assuredness about him that people don't really talk about. Do you know what I mean? Even when he's at Leicester, the way he plays, and I think he's definitely people have been questioning him before the game. That's why I said to him, was you nervous like going into this game? Because obviously all people were asking questions about you and stuff, but he's a calm guy, man.
He is, and the thing is to have that level of confidence, knowing that, when he came in, when he was on tour, I saw Johnny on tour, I'm like, what's happening here, what's the plan? And with all the injuries, you never know who you're going to have to rely on, so it's worked off. Bruno with the finish though, I mean, when you're not going to have that many chances in a game like today, we didn't create too much, what a finish.
Yeah, well listen, everyone, again, there's negativity surrounding the club at the moment, and one of them is, you get people saying, is Bruno, should he be captain, blah, blah. Them moments answer your question, because it was only really going to be him tonight. With that type of quality, that chance coming, I don't really think you really wanted to go into anyone else, maybe Marcus, but goes to him. You see how, again, confident he is, and that's magic. That's high level, operating there, and so I was glad to see it going, man.
Listen, Rio, I'll let you go, man.
Take it easy.
I'll see you in the studio, man.
Travels,
get me on the Monday show, man. Yeah, Stephen House, he's talking a bit too. Yeah, man, I need to get in there, man.
Yeah, he's talking too much like GAs and all that. Yeah? Okay, see that.
And Joel, listen, because you know what, Joel's
energy needs to be sapped out.
Delete his drafts, because he had drafts ready for us in his tweets. You got Man United going to lose, yeah? Delete that.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Joel, come out of the group, man.
Shots fired! Shots fired on Matchday Reloaded. Johnny Evans as well. Big up to Flex and Rio Ferdinand as well, chatting after the game. Johnny Evans, I do want to give a bit of extended time to Johnny Evans as well, because look, I will hold my hands up. There, I just did them. Yeah, I'll do it again. Hands held up. when it comes to Johnny Evans, because I've gone on a bit of a journey with him this year, because when the news first came out that he was training with United and there was a possibility for a short-term deal, I said to myself, well, you know, he's not going to play that many games. It'll be good to have around the dressing room experience, you know, old school Manchester United ways, can hopefully raise some standards, explain to some of the players and just people there in general. Like when I was here, it didn't really work like that. Or when I was here, that wouldn't really fly with the old manager, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then when I saw him play in pre-season, I thought there's absolutely no way we can give Johnny Evans a contract, even for a year. I thought his legs had gone, because I saw him play against Wrexham and struggle. I saw him play in a couple of other pre-season games and thought, it's not looking good. It's not looking good, Johnny. And you know, let's be honest too, it's a Glazer-nomic situation whereby we need another centre-back. Can we afford to get one? No. So we've got to get Johnny Evans because he's a free agent. And in reality, he shouldn't be playing last night. He shouldn't be in that position. And I think even when he spoke after the game, he's saying like, I shouldn't be here. I don't think, you know, I thought my career was winding down or I'd go somewhere else. I think he was linked to a move to Everton or something like that. And even then he'd be on the periphery. And it's an opportunity, and I'm going to take it. I'm going to see what happens. And we mentioned that with several other players. So I thought, when I saw the starting lineup last night, I thought, we're screwed. Absolutely screwed. Now, it's not to say that Johnny Evans can play every single game. And to be honest, even against, you know, a Crystal Palace at home, I worry, because they've got really quick players. They've got fast players. And a couple of times Burnley did get in behind last night based on, you know, pace and just a pass that kind of just Lindelof and Evans try and push up. They don't go at the right time, all that kind of stuff. So it's not as if it's perfect, but he, like Rio Ferdinand said, he rolled back the years last night. And I do agree with what he was saying too. When Johnny Evans was let go by Louis van Gaal, what was that, 2015? 2015, I think it was. He should have never been allowed to leave in the first place. Sir Alex Ferguson won a title, or won a couple of titles, playing Johnny Evans centre-back regularly, and Rio Ferdinand would know, because at that period of time, that was when, you know, Rio Ferdinand and Nemanja Vidic, one of the greatest centre-back pairings ever in Manchester United's history, but towards the latter stages of their career, they would have long periods of time out with injury. Rio Ferdinand obviously had troubles with injury. Nemanja Vidic also had troubles with injury. So a lot of the time in those sort of latter seasons, it was Johnny Evans and Rio Ferdinand, or Johnny Evans and Nemanja Vidic, or even like Evans and Chris Smalling playing at times, because those sort of more senior centre-backs were injured. So he filled in and he won titles and he won trophies. And again, I think that I think he deserves a lot of credit for coming in last night, being one of our best players, scoring that goal, which was unfortunate to be ruled out. And the pass, and as Flex mentions, had that been Lisandro Martinez, we'd be saying this is why he's one of the best defenders in the world, etc., etc. So a huge amount of credit. He's not the answer or anything like that. And like I said, you still worry about him just having to be included in the first place. But KG made the point last night on the Match View, and I totally agree with what he's saying when it comes to this, is that it's what Erik ten Hag has said in his interviews and press conferences too. If there's criticism about you, if there's criticism or doubt about you, your ability, your performances in the past, or your ability to be in this team, how do you silence people? How do you win people back around? Performances. You put in performances. You put in performances like Johnny Evans did last night. That's how you win people back round. Performances and, you know, commitment and tenacity in the game's work rate. That's how you win people round. A lot of the criticism from United fans, sometimes, a lot of the time, realistically stems from, are you delivering what they think you should be delivering? Are you putting in performances? Now, sometimes it gets irrational, and sometimes it gets about stuff that isn't performances, and that's just, unfortunately, that's social media nowadays. But you put in performances, and that's how you turn people around. And I think now you look at Harry Maguire's situation, he's probably fallen even lower down the pecking order, realistically. So I think in the future, if Erik ten Hag has a decision to make, do I play Evans or Maguire? I think he looks at the player that he can trust, and he looks at the player that he goes, well, he delivered for me at a time that we were struggling, and he stood up and he led that defence last night. You saw the way he was communicating with the back four off the ball, and it's a credit to him, absolutely a credit to him. And it's a fantastic story as well. Again, shout out to Johnny Evans. Fantastic stuff. What else we got here? Magnus says, by the way, that Twitter United rumor account is on point. I haven't heard of them. I'm sure to check it out. But there are a lot of accounts like that now at the moment, aren't they? And they all seem, I guess, almost alarmingly to be actually right, which is kind of wild, isn't it? Let's get some more reaction this time from Flex himself. Here are his thoughts outside of turf ball.
Finally, 3 points. Finally, a win in the Premier League. It feels like ages. And you know what? There was so much pressure going into this game. We just had to win. It didn't really matter how, even though it was an amazing goal that did give us the win. But we had to make sure we won the game. It was that was all that mattered today. People will say, oh, it's against Burnley, look at Man United, etc., etc. It was a tough watch at times. It was not perfect at all by any stretch of the imagination. Still loads more to work on. But good resilience, no stupid mistakes. That's been the thing that's killing us. And which I'm pleased about, we managed to handle the adversity that we always talk about in terms of we thought we'd scored, VAR gets involved, and then we ended up being calm after that and going on to score a fantastic goal. But it wasn't easy. Look, Burnley, there's a point in the game where they had like 68% possession. We were just sitting off them. They hit the post. They forced a good save from Onana. This was all before we scored. So, it was not an easy game. You never get easy games coming here. And especially with the moment that we're in, with injuries and lack of confidence and not being where we want to be at this season so far with the start we've had, it had the potential to be a massive banana skin, because I'm telling you now, if we would have drawn here today or lost here today, the reaction and the fallout from that was just unthinkable. It had to be 3 points, to the point where it's done now, you move on quickly, Palace midweek, hopefully get the win there in the Carabao Cup, then kick on against Palace again on the weekend. So it's about momentum, it's about winning games. Let's talk about what happened during the game and some of the players that stood out. Johnny Evans, my man of the match. I think he was absolutely brilliant today. Rio touched on it, that he was rolling back the years. He left the club probably too early as it was. And the thing is, what he did that's exactly what it was. It was the experience. That's what it was. He showed a lot of experience, a lot of calm play, putting his head in where it has, putting his body on the line. And the ball that he plays for the goal for Bruno Fernandes was just a joke. If Martinez would have done that, we would have been raving about it. We would have been absolutely raving about it, because that is something that Martinez is synonymous with. That is something that we expect from him. And you know what? When Johnny Evans, when we was on tour, remember me and KG talking about it, I was like, I can't believe it. I just can't believe that in 2023, Man United have let go of Phil Jones finally, and he's come to the end of his career, etc., etc. It's taken ages. And then we go back into time, and then we signed Johnny Evans. It was like such a weird thing to do, such a Man United-like thing to do. But he deserves his flowers, man. Listening to his post-match press conference, it was actually really refreshing to hear him, his post-match press conference, his chat on TNT. He said he thought his career was winding down. He pinched himself of times like that. And now he's got his 200th appearance, I believe, as well. So it's great for him on a personal, especially when I hold my hands up. And a lot of us would have said, Johnny Evans, what's going on here? Look, when he come on against Arsenal with Maguire, obviously we were ridiculed in that game. And look, that was against top-level opposition. And I'm not saying, that it means that Johnny Evans is the saviour and stuff, but he done his job today, and more than that, and he had a big impact on the game with a great assist, got a goal disallowed for offside. It was unlucky that Højlund was standing there. There was a Manchester City one with the same sort of situation with the Aki situation a couple of games ago. They gave that, but I don't know, maybe they're not giving him anymore. Who knows with VAR. So he's unlucky not to actually score and get an assist, but it was fantastic for Johnny Evans. I wanted to give him his...
Big up to Flex, speaking outside Turf Moor there last night. I do want to talk about Andre Onana as well, because it was a big game for Onana, given obviously what happened on Wednesday and given the scrutiny surrounding his, shot stopping and all that kind of stuff. And does it really silence any doubters? No, I don't think it particularly does. I think, to be honest, the doubts about Andre Onana and the people that had already made their mind up about him, that was even prior to Wednesday's game and prior to Wednesday's mistake. Really, people. And I think some of them were opposition fans, quite a lot of opposition. It's very strange, isn't it, with opposition fans? They're constantly telling you that you're shit. You know, I've seen opposition fans tweet more about United more than their own team. It's actually kind of wild. They'll be like Arsenal fans. It's North London Derby today. They'll be tweeting more about United's game than their own, which is kind of crazy. But as far as Onana last night, I mean, didn't have a ton really to do. He made a good save in the first half, which at the time I was like, oof, that looked a bit dicey. But then watching it back, the ball literally bounces right in front of him and he deals with it fairly well. In the second half, there was a point where he had to sort of come out, and it was the one where Johnny Evans hit his head against him and kind of got to the ball there. A couple of nervy moments still. There was a corner, came in, flapped at it, went over the bar. But it's a clean sheet. And Onana is no different than any of the players at United that I mentioned earlier on, where I say it's about momentum. It's about momentum. It's about just building. And at the start, it's going to be scrappy and it's not going to be good. And he's going to, for a guy that is supremely confident and supremely composed, and as he mentioned to Flex after the game, part of life, you go up, you go through ups, you go through downs, it's about getting through it. That's what he did last night, and second clean sheet of the season for him. Hopefully, there'll be many more as well. And again, I think that's a positive for him. How can you not look at it as a positive? And again, that's not to say. And this is what's crazy too. As James says, you win one game and back with your waffle, Owen. I tell you what then, let's turn it around. We're shit. We're rubbish. Onana, get out of the club. Out of the club. Did he keep a clean sheet last night? Yes. Did we win the game? Yes. Yes, it wasn't the perfect game. And yes, Andre Onana has struggled this season. Is his shot stopping suspect? Yes. And it still will be in the next game. It will be in the next game. But the point is that that's what he needed. And if you'd have said to him and said to United before the game, clean sheet, absolutely. Do you care how you get it? Nope. That's how. That's about building momentum. So that's a positive for him. And again, I think that's good for Andre Onana. And when it comes to the defense as well, I mean, look how much we're chopping and changing it as well. There's not a settle back for there because of all the injuries that we've got. I mean, shout out Victor Lindelof. How many different defensive partners has he played with so far this season already? Varane, Evans, Martinez. Has he played a game with Maguire? I don't know if he has at this point, but that's already 3 different defensive partners. Sofian Amrabat came on at the end. He was at left back. Kind of shows where we're at defensively as well. As Steffi Jenks says in the chat, you got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere, and that's what United did last night. So shout out to Andre Onana as well. Let's get some more reaction. Let's go to KG inside UVHQ. Here are his thoughts.
Log out. It's not necessary because I'm celebrating this. I know it says it's a sign of the times. How can a Man United fan be celebrating a 1-0 against relegation fodder? But I'm going to do it anyway because we needed this win. I was watching this game like it was some Champions League match because people calling it a 6-pointer. And ladies and gentlemen, I think that's where it was. A lot of people have been looking for blood. They've been looking for the blood of Erik Ten Hag. If that's pundits, if that's rival fans, if that's the Ten Hag outers, everyone's like, your manager's not good enough, change it up, This, if he lost this game, brother, I don't know where we would look. I don't know. I couldn't even deal with a new news cycle of just being onto the manager. And the manager realizes, he reacts, and he puts a team. The team he starts today lets me know what he's aware of what's going on around him. The noise has entered. The noise has got through to Carrington, because the pressure's there. And what does he do? He goes with the players he trusts. He said, I know my team. In the press conference, they said, what about the leaks and that and the other? He said, listen, I know my team. That means, and Owen broke it down perfectly, I know the people I can trust, and I probably know the people that are chatting rubbish about me. And guess what? I'm going to start the players that I trust. 90 minutes, he didn't want to make any changes. Not one single change. And I've been critical about Hannibal Medjugorje. I said, you know what? Don't think he's going to cut the mustard. I can see he's a level above all the other players, other youth players, academy players, but I just thought, don't know where it's going to be. I know he likes to fight, but has he got, tactical understanding? Can he read the game? Can he be trusted? We played him against Burnley in a game where the manager, it's a must-win game. You know, it's silly to say this so early in the season, but this was a must-win game, and Hannibal plays 90 minutes of it, and he was good. He was doing things that I've been waiting for the other players to do. Eriksen, McTominay, Rashford, all these players that have just not done their duties, just giving it to somebody else. I'm now finally seeing a player that is fighting for the badge. And shout out to Hannibal. Literally, it was such a performance that it made me excited. I'm looking at Casemiro, and Casemiro saying he was aging. Casemiro's been aging in the last couple of fights. Why? Because, last couple of fights. I'm thinking about boxing. Casemiro's aging in the last couple of games. Why? Because, you know what? There's been no support in that midfield. He's been there pretty much on his own. Now we're seeing a Casemiro that has some more support. In a McTominay, who, let's say, as the Steph gender is crazy, yeah? In the McTominay thing, is crazy. But Steph was right. There's things that he's there, but he's not doing much. You know, he's just there. And you know what? The problem with him versus Eriksen is not even there, and there's no control. So that's why I say the similar thing. Like, we finally had some sort of midfield that was bypassed. Now, do I hate the fact that Bruno goes wide right? I'm not a big fan of it, but then Bruno scores a good goal today. I'm not going to go too crazy and be like, oh my God, my captain's back. Because no, I need to see more big performances. Bruno needs to show up for 9, 10 games.
My question is, did you spot it? Did you spot during KG's fan view the little head that pops up behind him? Oh. Oh, it's tremendous. It is. KG brings up a really good point, actually, when it comes to Ten Hag and the substitutions. Because like KG, I was getting nervous. Well, KG was really nervous watching the game. He couldn't sit down. He was standing up and pacing back and forth. But he didn't make many subs, Ten Hag. And any subs that he did make early on were forced by injury. He literally had to make them. And I think it's quite interesting that and again, KG breaks it down right. I think it says a lot. I think it says a lot, not only about the options that he has. Of course, he's very, very limited with a lot of the options that he has at the moment with injuries and what have you. But also, too, it's not as if there weren't options on the bench last night, because there were. There was Garnacho, there was Pellistri, there was Anthony Martial, there was even Donny van de Beek on the bench last night. There were players that could have, hypothetically, been brought on last night, and he didn't. And I think maybe that says a lot about certain players, maybe not them specifically, I don't know. But that he went, no, I'm not going to bring him on. When the game's this important, when the game's this finely balanced, I trust the players that are on the pitch at the moment. I trust those players. They're going to get it done. I know that they won't let me down. And they didn't. And I think that speaks volumes too. As far as the other senior players, we spoke about Bruno earlier on. Still, when he's on the right, I don't like it because he's just on the periphery of the game. Rashford again last night. He's not having a good start to the season. There's no way of dressing it up, I don't think, with Marcus Rashford at this point. His decision-making, for me, is baffling at points because I don't even think... Last night, previously there was the discussion of he's greedy. All he thinks of is taking the shot. And that wasn't the case last night. What it was when he should pass, he took a shot. And when he should have taken the shot, he passed. The decision-making was really... baffling, absolutely baffling. And it's like he knows now, kind of. I think the penny might have dropped a little bit. I'm playing with a striker that's making runs. I've got to find him. But he tries to find him when he doesn't need to. And then when he needs to, he tries to go on his own. There was one point in the first half, and this is talking about defensive duties, where there's a runner that Rashford's tracked. And he passes him off to nobody. He just stopped. And Reguilon's, the ball gets in behind, and Reguilon, he can't catch up to that. And he kind of threw his hands up. That was 5 minutes in. And that's incredibly alarming. Really, really alarming. And then just in general, just his touch. He is just way off it at the moment. And it's incredible that he can go from the form of his life. I mean, best goal scoring season of his career. Purple patch, whatever you want to call it. Form of his life, he could do no wrong. And you could tell he believed everything he did. And now he just looks completely bereft of confidence. You look at him, I feel like that poor decision-making maybe just comes from a lack of football intelligence, but also someone that is second-guessing themselves now with everything they do. His body language is not good. He's throwing his hands up a lot. And Yeah, it's not good, and it's to the point now whereby you do start to say, look, maybe he does need that game out of the side or something like that to being taken out the spotlight, because it's not working. Like it's not. He is not playing well factually at this point in a lot of different facets. It's not just like, oh, he's doing everything right, but he's not scoring goals, or oh, he's doing everything right, but that assist just isn't happening for him. It's just not good. It's not good, and I think that you do have an option there in Alejandro Garnacho, and I think that's going to be quite interesting, certainly too. Let's get some more reaction. We still got more clips to go. Let's go to Minna. KG spoke to Minna after the game.
I'm happy, man. I know I don't look it, but
you look pissed off.
I'm happy. I don't look it, but I don't. I'm happy. I'm happy in it. That's all that matters. 3 points, clean sheet. Okay performance. Nothing really to brag about, but it's a good time to start picking up momentum.
Yeah, so talk to me about some of these positives you saw in the team and any performances that really stood out for you today. If there's any, give me the. Do you want to go with negatives first and then give them to the positives? How do you want to do this?
I don't really say it's negatives. It's more so things like to reflect on, innit?
Okay.
First and foremost, positives. Johnny Evans, shout out to you.
Yeah.
I'm looking for my Johnny.
Yeah.
And all of that.
You almost got a Johnny Evans shirt.
I know. Guys, if you lot were watching the stream, I said at the beginning of the game, if Johnny Evans scores, I will buy a shirt of his tomorrow. Thank God, because I don't wear a Johnny Evans shirt. But shout out to him in it, because number one, it's not easy to come in when you're called upon. We've seen many times players be called upon and not be able to perform, but the fact that he was able to do it today, albeit against a team that's just come up, newly promoted, struggling to even find their footing in the Premier League, but it's still not an easy task at the end of the day, number one. Number two, disallowed goal, minor. That pass that he played to Bruno, inch perfect, he took 2 touches, looked up, scanned his, whereabouts, and played that ball over, inch perfect. And it's a great finish from Bruno Fernandes, obviously. I think there's small things we can take away as positives.
Yeah.
I think Hannibal Mejbri had a good performance.
Talk to me about Hannibal today.
You know what? When I watched him, if you lot watched the loan view last year, you know that I watched him a lot at Birmingham City. And I really felt out of all the loanees, I thought him, Amad Diallo, 2 people that could actually get into the first team. And it was nice to see him not only get an opportunity to play, but actually make impact. He was breaking down a lot of, Burnley's attacks. He was getting forward, always putting a foot in, always getting stuck in. Some players be shying away from that, and he was always putting a foot in and really putting his body on the line, and I respect that. Young kid, got a lot to learn, and he's learning on the job, so that's nothing is better than that. Full 90 minutes as well, in a 3 points and a win. I think he'll definitely be happy.
In a struggling side, in a
midfield that, for so long today, I don't know if you lot realise, but we were bypassing our midfield to go forward because that was the best option, because we just couldn't break Burnley down. There was no technical ability in that midfield. Scott McTominay was just an additional body, a physical body there. Literally. I understand why Eric Ten Hag played him, but it's kind of one of them ones like, why are you doing that? But it is what it is. Casemiro grew very quietly into the game. By the second half, he moved me. He was moving me. By the second half, breaking down.
And we haven't seen that because people were saying that Casemiro is going. We don't know if it's the same Casemiro that we bought.
Yeah, no, 100%. I've said it too. I've said it too, that he ain't looked the same as last season. And it was nice to see him just grow into the game. I think Rashford and Højlund are going to have to understand each other. And, that could come with time. There was some frustrating moments from quite a few players. For me, my biggest concern, I'm not going to lie, is Reguilon going off injured. Lisandro Martinez obviously not being part of the team. The squad is running thin.
There's nothing like, I'm laughing because there's nothing like KG watching the television. When he's doing that fan view. Oh my God. This is literally. Yeah. 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 Oh, no, he's playing well. Yeah. Do you know what it is? I think there was the big boxing fight on, wasn't there? And I'm sure he was watching that. Yeah. Oh, KG, honestly, there is nobody like him. But they were right talking about McTominay as well. Man, I don't really know what he did yesterday apart from do fouls. I'd love to know his statistics. I probably should have looked that up prior to doing the show. But I think that once Sofyan Amrabat is more up to speed, he's probably going to start that game. Obviously, Amrabat did come on, 5-minute cameo at the end, playing fullback. Ten Hag did say that in a press conference recently, that he could play in a variety of positions. And I think actually McTominay's spot would have probably been Amrabat's last night. And maybe it will be going forward because McTominay really didn't do all that much. He again, it was just one of those plays. We kind of carried him throughout the game. To be honest, it was poor. It was really, really poor from him. But again, the most important thing is that we won the game. How many likes are we currently on at the moment? I haven't really done a like check throughout the show. We've got nearly 700 people watching. Less than 150 likes. I know it's Sunday. Sometimes when it's Sunday and there's a late game, and it was a late game. By the way, the game being at 8 o'clock on a Saturday is bullshit. I mean, absolutely ridiculous. But yes, maybe people might be a bit tired this morning. I know I am as well. So if you haven't already, click the like button. And I tell you what, this is the perfect thing to click the like button for. Let's end on a bit of positivity. Let's go to Marcel. Moments from Marcel. Here are Marcel's positive thoughts, hopefully.
1-0 in a game that we had to win. You know, it was a must-win game for us, and so much was put into it. I feel like, though, it's weirdly enough, all the other games, there's like spells, 20-minute, 30-minute spells, half an hour spells where we played good football. In this game, there was no particular point where there was good football being played. It was very fragmented, and we had to rely on good defending to then just give us a platform to again take a couple of counter-attacking opportunities or moments. And it's funny, all the good football or all the best moments or the brilliant moments of class came from Evans, our centre-back, a throwback kind of player that takes the counter-attacking and the direct football, you know, understands that, good clip, high-quality pass over the top. And I think he should have got 2 goals, if I'm honest with you, man. You know, that corner as well, it didn't seem like something that you could really take away or discredit him for. I mean, the goalkeeper was being impeded a little bit, but the head goes directly straight into the net. So for me, I don't know why he gets that taken away from him, unfortunately, but you know, Bruno does the right thing and gives him man of the match.
You know, and like Man United have fought today, and he saw some players that really. You said Johnny Evans was one that stood out for you. Was there any other players that was like had a good game, even though as bad as we played?
Oh, bro, look. So it's hard to give like just the positives. I'll go with some of the positives. Hannibal, you know, a positive performance from him. Really busy, and you know, when you take Bruno out of the 10, that's the one thing that you lose. That industry, that energy, running around. The quality of pass was kind of off like Bruno as well, but there's times where, you know, Hannibal in the second half gives a good outside of the foot pass into Rashi, and Rashi goes off on his counter charge, and I think the shot gets blocked in the end. But it's positive things where Hannibal's setting players free. In the first half, you know, decision making I think could have got Højlund in a couple of times, and just the quality of the pass, he underhits a bit of the passes. But those are technical things. We've seen him score long range goals this season, and we've seen Hannibal in general have good performances. So massive positive from him. Can he come in again and deliver that kind of performance again if Bruno has to go out wide? Højlund was okay. He was okay. He wasn't terrible. The hold-up play can be a lot better from him, if I'm honest. But that's really it, if I'm honest. I'm trying to think, you know, Region was kind of a bit quiet today and comes off injured, which is massively unfortunate for us. Bruno was quiet, but done the Bruno thing that we all know for him to do, which is contribute, even though it's a poor performance. Fantastic technical goal from him. I mean, it reminded me of the Cristiano Ronaldo goal against Spurs, where Bruno actually clips it over to Ronaldo and he smashes it in the corner, or a Van Persie goal. Man United have scored plenty of top quality goals, but I don't know. We don't have that many positives overall or like stand-up performances, but there was a few good moments from a few players.
Can Man United build on this though? You know, we're talking about we're mudded basically as a team at the moment, and just with all the noise and stuff, Man United severely mudded. Can we build on this though and really turn the corner? You know, you're talking about a team that's struggled. Is this the moment where we can say, all right, we can build on this and go on like a 5-8 game run?
Yeah. So you mentioned, you know, that the players that he trusts, and you mentioned it, KG, in terms of, you know, he set it. It feels a little bit like he set out the players that he trusts, and this squad here was players that I think understood the 4-2-3-1 shape. I think he went back to reverted a little bit to what he had seen last season. You know, just a solid 2 CDMs there in Scott and Casemiro. And even though I think Casemiro played poor in the first half and really got better in the second half, and Scott was poor throughout, those two are the types of players that you're looking to have in
Big up Marcel chatting to KG after the game there at UVHQ. A reminder, you can check out all of the fan views from yesterday as well. They went up last night, so maybe you haven't even seen them yet. So today was just a perfect little teaser to go and watch them. You go, actually, I'll tell you what, that was interesting. I'll watch it in full form. I'll go and check it out. They're all on the channel right now. There are some that you haven't even seen today. Good Vibes John. Check out his one as well. That certainly is good vibes as well. He was very energetic and he was very happy and bringing the good vibes after the game. So be sure to check that out as well. It says player ratings too with KG, Marcel and Steph, I think, after the game too. So be sure to check that out too. A reminder, full view tonight, 7 p.m. plenty to get into, not only after the Champions League game, but also yesterday's results, a positive results. So we'll be back live 7 p.m. The full panel will be discussing all things Manchester United, the week ahead, the week just gone, and all that kind of fun stuff as well. Where am I at when it comes to the super chats? I think I'm all caught up. Indeed, I am. How many likes are we currently on to? Before I wrap things up, we're currently at still less than 150. We'd get 150 on the way out. What? 200. 200. Yeah. 200. We can do 200. Anyway, guys, I'm out of there. Have a great Sunday, and we'll speak for you again very soon. 7 p.m. Full view. Don't miss it. I'm out of here. Peace.